Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a highly visual breakdown of one of the absolute most critical concepts in enterprise IT today. We are mastering Group Policy Objects, or GPOs. Whether you're prepping for a Windows Server interview, or you just really want to understand how massive networks actually stay organized and secure, this Explainer is going to be your best friend.
Picture this absolute nightmare scenario for a second. You just got hired as a sysadmin, and your boss tells you to update the security settings, change the desktop wallpaper, and install a new piece of software on 1,000 computers by tomorrow morning. Are you going to walk to every single desk with a USB drive? Absolutely not. Okay, let's dive into this, because there's a brilliantly designed, built-in solution that makes this seemingly impossible task a total breeze.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with what is a GPO, move on to the GPO arsenal, tackle scope and processing order, see GPOs in action for a mock HR department, and finally wrap up with management tools and benefits.
All right, part 1. What is a GPO? The centralized hero.
So, a Group Policy Object, or GPO for short, is essentially a feature inside Active Directory. It lets administrators centrally manage and configure settings for both users and computers across a Windows domain. Remember that painful manual configuration process we just talked about? GPOs completely eliminate it. It's basically an IT superpower. You configure a policy once, centrally, and it applies everywhere across the network. It's literally the ultimate tool for efficiency.
Moving right along to part 2, the GPO arsenal. What can this thing actually do?
The sheer expansiveness of this toolkit is honestly incredible. As you can see laid out in these infographics, a GPO can enforce critical security baselines, like password rules and account lockout policies. It can dictate your Windows firewall settings, seamlessly push out software updates to the whole company, or run specific scripts the moment someone logs on or off. You can even lock down USB ports to prevent data theft. Oh, and my personal favorite, desktop wallpaper and start menu restrictions. It's a classic sysadmin trick to stop users from setting weird pictures of their cats as the company background. The sheer volume of control here is what makes GPOs absolutely indispensable.
Part 3. Scope and Processing Order. Where do these policies actually live?
Now, GPOs don't just float around in the digital ether. They have to be linked to specific containers within Active Directory. You can link them to a site, which usually corresponds to a physical network location. You can link them to the entire domain, which affects practically everything. Or you can link them to an organizational unit, or OU, which is essentially a specialized folder for grouping specific users or computers together. The rule of thumb here? A policy affects all users and computers inside that linked container, unless an admin intentionally blocks inheritance or uses security filtering to exclude specific groups.
But what happens if you have conflicting policies? Well, the processing order goes exactly like this. Local policy first, then site, then domain, and finally the organizational unit. That gives us a really handy mnemonic acronym for interviews, LSDO, Local, Site, Domain, OU. So the crucial point to remember is that policies processed later in this chain generally take precedence if there's a conflict. Because OUs are processed last, an OU policy will almost always overwrite a conflicting domain policy. When you see it laid out visually like this, the hierarchy makes total sense.
Part 4. GPOs in action. Let's look at a day in the life with an HR department.
Let's say your company has an organizational unit specifically for human resources. You, being the clever administrator that you are, create a targeted GPO linked just to that HR OU. And you set 3 distinct rules. First, you disable access to the control panel so they can't accidentally break system settings. Second, you enforce that standard corporate wallpaper we joked about earlier. And third, you automatically map their H drive straight to the secure HR file server.
And here is the absolute magic moment. Those settings are automatically applied the second users in that HROU log in. You don't have to walk over and touch a single computer in their department. A user sits down, types in their password, and instantly their environment is perfectly securely configured with absolute zero manual effort from you. That is the true time-saving power of a GPO.
All right, final section, part 5, management tools and benefits. The big payoff.
The real payoff here is centralized administration, which massively boosts security across the board. You get incredibly consistent user and computer configurations. Everyone gets exactly what they need, nothing more, nothing less. It drastically reduces manual configuration effort, which means easy deployment across hundreds or even thousands of devices. If you're an aspiring IT pro, remember this. GPOs aren't just something to memorize for an exam. They are the tools that will literally save you countless hours of grueling manual labor.
To actually pull all of this off, you're going to rely on two main tools, and this brilliantly illustrates the difference between local and domain-wide control. For domain-wide management, you use the Group Policy Management Console. You access that via the command gpmc.msc. That's where you create, edit, and link all those powerful domain-level GPOs we've been talking about. On the flip side, if you just need to edit a local group policy on a single standalone computer, you use the Group Policy Editor, which is gpedit.msc. Keeping these two tools and their commands straight is absolutely critical for both your daily admin work and acing those technical interviews.
Which brings us to a very important question. Are you ready for the top 20 GPO interview questions? In this explainer, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. You've seen the infographics, you understand the LSDOU hierarchy, and you know exactly which tools to reach for. You absolutely have the foundational knowledge right now to walk into any Active Directory or Windows Server interview with total confidence. The groundwork is laid, so where are you going to take it from here?